Looks like everybody's in here. Should I stop doing dad jokes now? What is the name of this panel, by the way?
Creative outlets.
Is that what it's called? Creative outlets? Okay, cool. That's pretty general. Welcome in, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, we can do like a little brief introduction, and then I imagine this will kind of just be a general Q&A, and it can be broad. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be about a specific game or anime. It could be about life. It could be about the creative process, voice acting, whatever. So, do you want to start, Pat?
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Patrick Romeo Pedraza. My middle name is Romeo. That was my grandpa's name. I have it tattooed right here if you want to know a little bit more about me. I am the voice actor for Scaramouche, Wander, Hakai, Kunikazushi, Kabukimono. How many more are there? How many names does he have? And some other ones. I was born in the San Fernando Valley. I now live in Ventura County, and I've been a voice actor for about 10 years now. And before that, I was a touring drummer in a band and a personal trainer, and that's my little background. Thank you for having me.
Hey everybody, I'm Griffin Burns. I've been doing voiceover for going on almost 14 years now, believe it or not. I moved to Los Angeles in 2010 after college, and that's when I started. You might know me as the voice of Child in Genshin Impact. Muichiro in Demon Slayer. Doppio in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Akira Fudo in Devil May Cry Baby, and many, many others. I also voice a lot of commercials. People sometimes ask me, like, is that you in an Oreo commercial? Is that you in a McDonald's? And I was like, yeah. So I've been doing different genres of voiceover for a long time. I also have a music background, not professional, but I started on piano as a kid, and then segued to guitar and played in bands and stuff. And now I've been doing music with this guy over here. We got a little project called Scared Child. We combined our Genshin characters, and actually today we released a new song. So it's been a lot of fun. We can open it up for Q&A, but is there anything else we should say before we do that? Who's been to Kumoricon before? Oh my gosh, almost everybody. Wow, there's a very loyal Kumoricon following here. That's pretty cool. Well, it's my first time. It's your first.
This is my first time at Kumoricon. It's not my first time in Portland, though. I've been here a lot before, but it was usually like sleeping in a van with, I tell him, like 6 or 7 guys, and played a couple shows over here. I think we played a place called the Crystal Ballroom. I don't know if that's still over here. Been to Portland a lot. I wanted to be like a tourist over here and like kind of go to the Voodoo Donut place, but is it worth going there just because I seen it on the Food Channel? No. Okay, cool. Thank you. But I just like the way it looks on TV. You know what I mean? But then when you go, you get like, it's kind of like meeting your hero. You know what I mean? You go and then you're like,
it's not that great.
Yeah. But yeah, stoked to be here.
Cool. Well, I guess it looks like there's a microphone right there in the aisle. If you want to make a line, you can. If not, if you want to just yell from your seat, but we can take questions or whatever. Does anybody have a question they'd like to ask us? Yeah, you right there.
How did you come up with the name Scared Child? I have to know.
It's all Griffin.
Pat and I texted back and forth with some ideas, and we just combined Scaramouche and Child, and I thought, I thought for a pop punk emo band that sounded like a good name. By the way, check it out.
Yeah, we made like 2 of those. Griffin did, and he gave me one for a Christmas present for me. So thank you, dude.
You're welcome.
Seriously.
You're welcome. I really wanted us to have sweatshirts for this con with the new song coming out today. So I did like the whole rush order delivery. It was like $80 a sweatshirt. Don't recommend to do that again, but worth it. Totally worth it.
Yeah, they're really cozy too. So good job, man.
Thank you. Oh, just hit the switch on the top of the mic. Bring it up. There you go. It should be on now.
Well, all right.
There you go.
What is your favorite part of the backstory for either of your characters?
Oh,
Or
part of
characters
backstory.
outside of Genshin?
That's a good question.
For Scaramouche, I don't know. I feel like he's like a little wounded kid. I really relate to him. You know, I just feel like the issues he has as a young, you know, being abandoned and all that stuff. I think a lot of people can relate to him in real life. So, yeah, that's probably my answer right there.
I like, I don't know if this answers it, but I like Child's relationship with Tusser and how loyal he is to his family. I also like how competitive he is. I am also very competitive. I competed in a lot of sports growing up, so I would say I'm a fighter too, but not in the lethal kind of way.
Did you know that, I'm sorry, Griffin, I was talking today, he could run the mile in, what was it?
4:25.
Do you know how fast that is? Like, that is so fast.
That
like,
was-
I'm like, dude, are you serious? Like, no way.
I competed in track and field from like the age of 11 or 12. I did like Junior Olympics, and then I ran Division I track for a few years, and yeah, I was able to run a pretty fast mile at one point. Not anymore.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so I absolutely love your guys' songs.
Thank you.
How did
Thank
you
you.
guys even start getting together to make them?
The first one, like, was kind of a joke. Like, I was like, yo, we should do a rap song. You know?
It stemmed from you joining TikTok.
Yeah, so I don't know how to do TikToks or anything. I'm like a dad. Like, I'm not good at it, but I was like, yo, I'll get on TikTok. And he shouted me out, and I started getting all these followers. And I was like, yo, if I get to like 100,000, we should do a rap song.
That was the idea. It was like, if he hits 100,000 subscribers in 5 days, we'll do a rap song. It took like 20 days, but it didn't matter.
Yeah.
We still honored it. And that was the first one. It was just like goofy and for fun.
Yeah. My friends, being in the music scene for a long time, I have friends that are producers and they do like beats and stuff. And that's what they do. They usually record punk bands or hardcore bands. That's the scene I grew up in. And stage diving and hardcore dancing and all that crazy stuff and hurting myself a lot. And I was like, yo, can you make us a beat? And he made us a beat. And I was like, sent it to Griffin. I was like, what should we write about? Write the hook. So this guy's a master at writing really catchy choruses. I could write music on guitar. I could write little melodies here and there, but I'll send him a melody I have, and he makes it better. You know what I mean? I could get the meat and potatoes of stuff, and he comes up with really super catchy hooks. And then I wrote a verse, he wrote a verse. I sent it to my friend, and he mixed it. So yeah,
it's been so fun. This is like scratching an itch from my middle school days. Like, I wanted so badly to be so successful at music that I didn't have to go to college. Because my parents, the expectation is like, you have to go to college. And you have to. That's just like, you have to. But I wanted to get like a record deal and be like, oh, I don't need it. I don't need to go anymore. I'm touring. But I went to college, and then after I got into voiceover, and I've been doing it. That's been my career for a while, and so in the last 5 or 6 years, because I've been more established in voiceover, it's been so awesome to then switch gears and put more time into music. And Pat's like part of that world that I worshipped as a kid, like Warped Tour bands, and so it's like now I feel like I'm getting to live out some of that teen angst. You know?
Yeah, I was telling him that I get to live out some of that too, because when I was in a punk band, like I'd write some of the songs on guitar and I'd play drums and record and stuff like that. But usually, like the pop songs I would write, like my old band, long story, we went on tour with Blink-182 and stuff like that. But like I'd write pop songs, and usually the band's like, the singer's like, no, it's too poppy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I'd be like, yo, Griffin, check this song out. And I'm like, yo, this stuff. Yeah. So that's how we kind of do it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
I can relate to the college thing. I've kind of put all my efforts into voice acting, so I don't have to go to college.
I see, yeah.
So I didn't realize I could just ask a goofy question, so I thought of something kind of ahead of time. I was wondering if either of you had any advice for sticking, I guess, to a certain theme when creating content without blocking yourself creatively.
Ooh, that's a tricky one, especially for me because I'm sort of locked into the child and Genshin thing. If I post about anything that's not that, it just doesn't do well currently. But I think consistency is super important. So like, let's say, I don't know, let's say you've been doing one thing for a while and you've gained a little audience for that. If you want to switch it up, I would just make sure that when you make that transition, you are consistently making that kind of content and maybe even place it on a new channel, like a different channel. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I just say whatever you do, I would probably separate them into your like different brands and just really make sure that you're consistent with them, because if it's kind of like here and there, I don't think it's gonna stick. But I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah, you know what's good about that? He's teaching me something about it too. I'm like, oh yeah, cool. That's what so, I'm pretty new to it. I really don't know what I'm doing. I have a TikTok. I don't know how to edit good on there. Like, I just like, is this cool? Like, maybe, you know, like, I don't know.
Bad editing is great for TikTok.
Okay,
doesn't
cool,
even
cool.
matter. Doesn't matter.
There's like
You
too
post
many
as much as you
filters. I'm
want.
like, I don't know what I'm doing, dude.
Sometimes the crappier the better on TikTok. It's
Cool.
like low quality, doesn't matter.
Awesome. Then I should win that thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, I have two questions, if that's all right.
Sure.
First question, how did you decide that you wanted to do voice acting?
Sure. I fell into it. I moved to Los Angeles in 2010, and it was right after school, and I was living with my sister because she lived there, and I really didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I had this vague idea of like, I want to be creative and make music and whatever. So in that sort of vagueness, I was trying different things. I did extra work for TV and film. I was working as a valet for a valet company. I was just trying to make ends meet, and I got an audition through a casting site called LA Casting, and it was for a voiceover. And because of the recording equipment that I had from my band days, I just knew how to use that stuff, so I set up in my sister's closet and recorded this audition, and 3 weeks later I got this email congratulating me that I booked the job, and so that was the light bulb moment for me. I was like, oh my God, this gig pays pretty well. It's using skills that I seem to already have, and after that job, I went full force. I took classes, I got a demo made, I just studied everything I could about it. I contacted like random pros that were kind enough to take calls with me and give me guidance, and I just went for it. It was all I could think about, and I just did that until it became a full-time thing. So, yeah.
Well, mine is, yeah, I had an agent. I booked a commercial, like, I got an agent from my uncle who was a producer at CBS. He does, like, the on-air things for Big Brother. You know, like, when you see those shows, this week on Big Brother, like, stuff like that. He writes promos. And he's like, yo, you're Mexican. We're looking for some Mexican, like, you know, I know this agency. You know, you got a hip look. You know, and I was like, Uncle Danny, come on, dude. So anyways, I got an agent and for commercials, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, yo, go to this audition. I booked a commercial, luckily, because I knew how to play drums. So I booked a T-Mobile commercial. I got my SAG card, long story short. The agency had a voiceover division, and I'd have to drive. Like, I live in Ventura County. Oh, you have an audition. Can you drive to the Valley? So I'm like, dude. So I drive to the Valley. It was just so, I was so beaten down by the driving, because I would like drive over there and audition for stuff with all these big voice actors, and I never booked anything for like 2 years. And I finally booked something, and I was like, no way, I booked something. I was so stoked, and I was like, you know what? And that's when I learned how to record myself from my house, and I bought my own mic, and then from then on, I just went like full force into it. So I'm constantly still auditioning too, and there's constantly still parts I don't get, so every day I'm like, drop my daughter off, you know, at the bus stop, and then I'm like in my booth, like getting auditions or doing something, you know what I mean? But that's how I got into it, just having an agent with a voiceover department.
The second question was, what are your guys' favorite instruments to play? Because you both have music talent. What's your favorite?
Drums. I started off with the drummer. My dad, who passed away, taught me how to play drums. He was left-handed. I learned how to play left-handed, but always drums.
Probably guitar. Yeah. Thanks for your questions.
Yeah, thank you.
I saw a hand back there. Yeah.
Did you know that did you know Scaramouche was gonna turn blue? In the stories you know when he turned blue?
No. Wait, do I know any what?
Was it a complete surprise to you?
Complete surprise to you that he turned blue.
Oh! Yeah! It was. I was like, you know that Scaramouche is blue, and I was like, no, I was kind of confused. It was a surprise to me. I remember when I first saw, like they said, when I was in the sessions, they're like, yo, your character's not going to be Scaramouche anymore. He's going to be something else. And I was like, what? Do I still have the part? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, okay, cool. All right. Well, he's the Wanderer. I was like, okay, well, what's the difference? So he has this vision, and all this starts explaining this whole thing to me, and I'm like, or just some crazy stuff. I'm like, okay, well, and they're like, well, he's not going to be as mean, but can you like still make him a little sassy, you know? Okay. So it was, yeah. So did that answer your question, kind of?
What's your favorite version of the Scaramouche? I got all the versions.
Gosh. Well, the special place in my heart is the first, the stars one where he's like, oh man, and he's like, the stars, the sky, it's all a gigantic hoax, a lie. So probably that version for me right now, where he's kind of a little meaner on the meaner side.
Way in the back.
Do you have any advice for people who are starting out in voice acting?
Yeah, I can tell you sort of my journey, but I would just break it into 3 major steps. I would acting / taking. I have a fuzzy in my mouth.
The new sweater.
The sweatshirt. Sweatshirt in my mouth.
It's real cozy.
It's so cozy. Yeah, I would. It's like learn what you're doing, right? You know, practice. It is acting. It's acting with your voice, which is very specific. There is a common misconception that it's just talking, whatever. But it is often very difficult for people to. They think they sound a certain way, but they don't. So having somebody, a third party, a coach that can listen to you. So say you're doing a commercial and they want it to sound warm and inviting. Well, can you deliver this script in a warm and inviting way? Are you able to create characters? So first step is, learn what you're doing, practice, work on your acting, take an acting class, take a voiceover class. Meanwhile, simultaneously, you could be doing, there's pay-to-play websites out there like voices.com, Voice123. There's all sorts of problems with those sites, but I will say, I started on those back in the day, that it is a good place to practice and you can get some work out of it. And then from there, you need a demo. You need to have a demo made. And that demo is sort of your calling card to get representation, to get an agent. So those are the 3 major steps, is training, demo, agent. And I don't know. Some people get lucky and get an agent without a demo. There's all sorts of ways, but that's kind of the basics.
I would say all of that and try to, I think I talked to you. Yeah. Use your imagination too. Just work on, it seems easy, but it's one of those things you could do a certain voice, but I remember when I went to a Genshin session when Scaramouche became playable, and they're they don't show you anything when you go in there. They didn't give me the sides or the lines before I went in, and they're like, okay, this is what you're gonna do, and I'm crap you not, it was just walls of dialogue. And I was like, all right, well, let's go. So you have to train yourself to be in those situations where you could say all that dialogue as naturally as you can, because you could get in your head a little bit, and I think the more practice you have doing it, the better off you'll be, talking to people naturally. It's you could read the lines, but can you say it in a natural way as I'm talking to you guys right now, you know what I mean? So that's part of the challenge, some of it. I work on it a lot still, so just being as natural as you can and trying to calm the nerves while you're in the session and focusing. So
Yeah, one way to practice that too is to just grab something random. It could be a magazine or the back of a shampoo bottle. Pick a voice, whatever, character, and read it in that voice. See if you can, get through it with that, and stay consistent. L'Oreal kids. I don't know.
did you hear that yelling outside?
What was it?
I don't know. It was like someone getting tackled. It was like.
Yes, you.
When you were going into like your Genshin auditions and stuff, I know both your characters came out pretty early, with the scare with the event, and then also Child was very early on.
Mm.
How much did you see? Did you know any they give you any designs or anything for the characters that you were auditioning for? Did they let you kind of take a look at what they were looking like? Give you any direction ahead of time at all?
For me, they gave me. I read for Child at home right before COVID, I think, and it's just it was like a 1-page with a picture of him, and it said Child / Tartaglia, and then maybe a little synopsis on his character, he likes to fight, he's a good guy, but he also seems bad, and blah blah blah, and he has an air of confidence and blah blah blah. So that tipped me off to how I thought he would sound, and then I just read it the way, performed it the way I thought it sounded. I sent it in, and I never thought anything about it again until it came back to me, and they said, "Congrats, you booked the job."
Yeah, mine. I got the audition for Scaramouche, and it didn't have a picture or anything on it. It had 4 lines. And it's like mysterious, younger sounding, whatever. And I read for it, and then a month later, it's oh, you got the part. And I was like, cool. So I went in, and then I finally saw what he looked like. And I was like, oh, cool. And then after that, I went in for that session. I didn't go back to another session for 9 months. And I didn't even know if I was going to be playable or anything. And then I started doing more. I'm like, yo, am I going to be playable? And they're like, I don't know. Okay. So then finally, 2 years later, they're like, you're going to be playable. And I'm like, what's that mean? Does that mean I get to work more? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. So I didn't really know anything when I auditioned for them.
So was there ever any characters that they had picked that they wanted you to voice, but you chose not to voice that character for some reason?
Not me. I'll voice.
I was gonna say I tend to take most voiceover work that comes my way.
Me too.
Unless it's just not a good rate or it's against some values. But I don't think I've ever turned down a part really. I've had the problem where I've been offered a role and then it gets taken away from me for whatever reason. Sometimes it's maybe the character has become a person of color, and then they're like, hey, Griffin, we're going to cast appropriately, this isn't going to work anymore. Or one time I was cast for something, and they realized they wanted to use the original cast from the 90s or the early 2000s, so that was another time. But I don't normally turn down character work or anything like that.
Me neither. I haven't. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Over on near the wall there, yeah.
So in regards to commercial work, do you actually like what you're doing the voice work for, or is it just paychecks?
I oddly enough love doing commercials. I find it to be like a game that I play with myself because with the audition process for commercials, obviously, just to give you an idea, any audition that we do probably has between 200 and 1,000 people reading on these things, right? So my game that I play with myself is how can I read this in such a way and add to it that it's going to sound different than everybody else's read? What can I just add? So with commercials, I like to add, I improvise a little bit, especially for radio. There's certain genres of voiceover you shouldn't really add much improv, but for commercials, a lot of times I add a little, for instance, okay, let's say the line is, wow, that's a tasty burger, right? Pretty simple. You got 500 reads that are all wow, that's a tasty burger. Wow, that's a tasty burger. Wow, that's a tasty burger. But what someone might not think of doing is going, oh, that's a tasty burger. Or, wow, Like adding maybe a little color to the beginning of the read or before it, or a laugh or a sigh or something. So I like to play with that. And then when I book the commercial, I'm like, yes, I tricked them. So that's my game. And also, financially, commercials take very little time to do, and they pay very well. So that's business side.
I like doing commercial work. It's fun. I like doing commercial, yeah. I did one for the Army. It's pretty cool. It's kind of funny, and they like, we need a Latino accent. I'm like, okay, Army Reserve, or something. But I like to, like what Griffin says, he has a technique, that's his technique. Mine is kind of like, wow, that's a tasty burger. What I'll do sometimes is like, dude, did I tell you that? Wow, that's a tasty burger. So I would go like, dude, I tell you that, and I cut that off, so it sounds natural, but you just get the wow, it's a tasty burger. That makes sense? So like I'm actually talking to you and like, wow, that's a tasty burger.
Like a lead-in, yeah.
Yeah, so I like doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you.
What software do you use when you're recording your own voice work?
I use a program that probably a lot of other VAs don't use because of my music background. I use Cubase. Yeah, how about you?
Mine's super easy. Okay, I'm not really good at tech stuff. I use this program called Twisted Wave, and I've been using it since I started, and it's really easy for me to edit and take out breath. I just know it so well now. I'm too lazy to go to anything else, and I just use Twisted Wave. You can use it for iPad, you can use it for Mac or whatever. It's pretty user-friendly for someone like me who could barely post an Instagram picture. So.
Adding on to that, if you know, what microphones do you usually use for recording?
I have two like higher end mics now. I use a Sennheiser 416, which is a great shotgun style microphone, and then I have a Griffin M930, which is basically like a Neumann. If you've ever heard of that brand.
Yeah, all those Neumanns are like expensive. When you walk into a studio, they all have Neumanns and all that stuff. I have the knockoff of Griffin's Sennheiser that costs $200, by a mic company called Cinco, and then I use an Audio-Technica. I have a mic that's a shotgun mic, and then I have
A large diaphragm.
a large diaphragm.
Large
I use.
condenser.
It just depends on what my daughter's doing at the time. If she's making noise, I'll use the shotgun mic and point it somewhere else. Yeah. So my equipment isn't that expensive, but it sounds pretty good. I've 8-beat it with like real studio stuff with my stuff, and I'm like, dude, like to the normal ear for an audition, you can't tell. But when I go for the job, I usually go into the studio where you could actually record from home, but I choose to go because it gets me out of my house and I get a little break. You know what I mean? So I'm like, tell my wife, I'm gonna go to LA, at this time, and then I gotta leave and take a little break, from being a dad for a second.
I agree though. You don't need much to start. I was using a $400 laptop and a $200 mic for 6 years. Did tons of work on it, so no big deal.
Is there an easy way to teach yourself to do accents? And how many different accents can you do?
Oh, jeez.
Can't do accents.
I suck at accents.
I'm not great.
Yeah.
I heard you could do like an English accent. I can't. I could do no, I can't.
Yeah, I'm really limited. What I do is I go on YouTube, I type in,
I've done that.
if I have auditions where it's like an Italian accent or whatever, and I'm half Italian, I'm like, come on.
Have you booked a role where you had to do an accent?
I have.
No way.
I've booked a video game where I did an Italian accent, and I also booked like a British thing.
Wow.
But like Australian, heck no, I'm not even touching that. But the best way for me is I just go on YouTube and I just find videos of native speakers speaking, and I try to mimic it for a while, and then I'll take like a little catchphrase or whatever, like, hey girlie, hold still, or whatever. I don't know. Just some catchphrase that I can repeat and that gets me into the accent. I don't know. But there are coaches in LA, there's coaches that specifically work on accents, so if that's your thing, yeah.
What game did you have to do the accent for?
I don't think it's out yet, so...
Oh, no way.
I don't think it's out. Yeah.
Will you guys be able to play your new song for us?
Oh, we'd have to play it on a phone, but Is there an aux cord to be like plug it in?
I don't know. I don't have I don't think that's gonna fit.
That's for the projector. I don't know if there's a great way to do that, but
Yeah.
if you want to hear it, the band name is Scared Child. The song is called Love Letter from Dallas, and
It's
has nothing to do with porn. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway,
it's a cool song. I like it a lot. It's not really well. I mean, it could be Genshin related, but it's really not. It's just like I think it's a really cool song that we wrote, so I'm stoked on it.
way in the back.
Oh, dun, dun, dun.
So, from Genshin or literally anything else, do you guys have a favorite line and have one request afterwards too?
Favorite line from Genshin?
Yeah,
Of
or
our own
anything,
characters.
Anything, mainly Genshin, but anything else too.
Anything else? For JoJo's, I like doo, 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 doo. For Child, I like this place is pretty dead. By which I mean there's nothing to kill.
I just like every Scaramouche line, you know? I like, cry louder. And, of course, you dare to gaze upon me? Those are my two favorite.
Thank you. And then my other request is for Child, can we get an all you do is run? It's my favorite.
Does he actually say that?
Yeah.
I don't even know. I don't remember how he says it. But...
The general tone line is, all you do is run! It's kind of like
Okay, is he in his, he's not in his boss mode, right?
It is, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I see that.
All you do is run! Something like that? Okay. It's been a minute. Pink.
Is there a certain nation in Genshin you both like, and if so, why?
Oh, is that like a ship question?
Just so you guys know, I don't play, so I haven't played the game. I know, I always like to say that because I see everyone's face. So, I don't know. Can I say Sumeru? Like, is that? Yeah. Okay, perfect. See?
I'm like an AR-33. I'm an AR-33. I've only been to Mondstadt and Liyue and barely outside of those areas, so that's about as far as I can talk about. I'm sorry. I'm a big disappointment.
Me too.
Yeah, you?
If you could voice anyone else in Genshin, who would you voice?
Child.
I would voice Razor.
Can I say what's a famous child line? What do you say?
Hey, girlie, hold still.
Hey girly, hold still. I'll do like Skara. When he gets mad. Hey girly, hold still.
What's one of your lines?
Oh my gosh. Are you deaf or just stupid?
Like that? Is it said like that?
No, he says, yeah. Are you deaf or just stupid?
Are you deaf or just stupid?
Perfect.
But Razor's like, me hungry, me wolf boy, me lonely, me voiced by Todd Habercorn. That was that question. Yes, you.
What are you guys' favorite bands?
What's your favorite band?
I don't really have a favorite band. What I listen to when I work out is probably like, I don't know, Angels and Airwaves and like some old emo stuff like that I went on tour with. And sometimes I'll put in some hip hop, you know, but bands, yeah, probably Angels and Airwaves, like stuff like that. Foo Fighters, yeah.
I also don't know if I have a favorite band, but I do like, as of late, I've been into Water Parks. I think that's a cool band. I like The Kooks, which is a British like rock band. And then growing up, I loved like pop punk, I like Blink, Green Day, Sum 41, all those bands. So, yeah. How about Scaramouche again?
Do you have any Scar headcanons?
Huh? Do I have Scar nicknames? People ask me to name their character. I don't. Wait, what'd you say? What? Head cannon?
Like your own made-up backstory.
Oh. See, you guys are too like headcanon. Like I know the word. Like, is there like a dictionary I could like learn all these Genshin words? You know, I don't even know what ship is.
Okay,
like,
let me
you know?
Pat, when someone asks you a question you have no idea, you just say, "What's your favorite headcanon?"
I've done that before, but I couldn't even understand. Yeah, okay.
If you're ever in the situation that we're in, you don't know that, you go, "Oh, well, what's your favorite?"
Yeah, Scaramouche likes lattes instead of tea. That's it.
Are there any other right in the front?
I want to know what your bracelet says.
Oh.
Does it say anything?
Someone gave it to me. What's it say? Scaramouche. That's what it says. And I got a whole bunch of other ones that say Wander, but this one says Scaramouche on it. Thank you for the gifts, everybody.
In any time in your creative processes, whether it be voice acting or making music, do you experience burnout, and how do you mitigate it?
I got lost in thought there for a second.
I used to have that, but now it's kind of different for me after having a kid, if this makes any sense, because I have no time. I have no time, like, to do anything. I'm just kidding. I have no time to play guitar or write songs. I do sometimes, but it's like spur of the moment when I get an idea, so the ideas come to me real quick. So I'm like, run, write down the guitar, boom, and record on my phone, and that's it. And then I'll come back like the next day and be like, run in guitar. So my time is kind of, I could balance it now. Before, I would just work on a song for a month, and like, it just still didn't sound good. And then I just would give it up. And I'd come back to it maybe a year later, but I would just take a break.
Yeah, I think like with anything, you just have to find some balance, which can be really hard. I have been auditioning for voiceover stuff for a while now, and sometimes I just don't feel like. I think at a certain point you have your bag of tricks, you have like the characters that you're good at, you know how to do, and so sometimes they start to feel like you're doing the same sort of voices, the same styles, and but it's funny right now because I've put a lot of my energies into the convention appearances and traveling and doing some other things that I actually really enjoy hopping in the booth and like doing some undivided attention on my auditions, because I feel like I haven't been hitting those as much as my early part of my career was just in the booth every day. I worked a night job so that I could audition all day long, and I did that for so long, and now I've become much more selective with the auditions that I do, my week doesn't really, I'm not in the booth nearly as much. I'm only in the booth maybe a handful of hours, 4 or 5 hours tops in a week now, but whereas I would do like, I don't know, 30, 40 hours of auditioning in the beginning. So, I don't know, I think you just have to sort of, when you're burnt out or you need some time, you need to divert to something else that you like to do. And maybe it's not work-related at all, you know, working out, eating, watching a movie.
Eating donuts.
Eating voodoo donuts. Hand way in the back. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite drink for when you're doing those long shifts in the booth?
I just get drunk. No, I'm just kidding.
Coors Light.
Coors Light.
No,
do you imagine?
Dude.
McDonald's
just water.
$1.99.
I do like an occasional. What do you mean? I'm kind of addicted. I drink those bubbly waters like Waterloos and all that. So just water and that kind of stuff.
I don't know if I have a favorite drink.
Do you like drink throat coat when you're in the studio and doing those like yelling sessions and stuff?
Yeah, I like to drink tea when I'm doing voiceover. Honestly, my favorite drink, which is so boring, is room temp water. Because it's easy on your vocal cords and it's just, hydration is king, Basti. Someone who has an, you too. Okay.
Okay, so I've got one question for each of you because I wouldn't be applicable. So I'll start with Griffin.
Sure.
Since I have seen you play before, who do you like to use with child the most?
Well, first off, I'm horrible with child, and I don't know how to use him. So he's on my team, but he's kind of benched a lot. The main lineup I have, I think, is Kaya, Razor, Bennett, and Child sometimes makes an appearance. But again, I'm not that good.
Yeah, when I use him, I usually need to count like manually, like usually either 10 or 15 if I want to do the full thing with the set that I use on him, just because that cooldown management is
Time consuming.
If you can get it though, it's really good.
Yeah.
I use him in Abyss and it's
Nice, nice.
Someone needs to teach me how to play.
We should do a panel about that. We just like have the game up on the screen and
That
you
would be
learn.
cool.
You teach us all how to play.
And then for Patrick, I had a question about Bohemian Rhapsody. As far as, because the list of references to the song that you could make with Wanderer is just so long, it would take me forever to list them all. Is that something that you were made aware of at all? Is that something that was acknowledged, or is that just something that it kind of happened, they rolled it out, and then it just was?
Man, that's a crazy question because they knew. I had to have, right? But did you guys know the reference? Well, I didn't. The reference. I'm no fan of Dongo. Yeah. You know what that is, right? I'm no, like a Fandango. Yeah. And we changed that in the session. Yeah, it was supposed to be I don't like Dongo, and then the director, I think Chris, was like, we should be like, there's no fan. You're no fan of Dongo. You get it? And I was like, yeah. So I was aware of it, but I didn't know it would be so kind of prominent in the story. But it's really cool. It's so awesome. It makes him a really cool character. But I didn't know. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Griffin, I have to. What inspired the child?
The air dancer. Who's witnessed the wacky inflatable? Okay, cool.
Dude.
I don't remember how that idea came about, but I had a cutout, like a standee, cardboard cutout that I would bring to cons, and I don't know if I passed a car dealership or something, but I was like, I wonder if those can be customized. And I went on this site, and sure enough, if you upload a high-res PNG file, I just found a good PNG file of Child, and I contacted the site, and I was like, can you make this? Is this viable? And they're like, oh, totally. The quality's good enough. They're like, would you like little tassely hair for another $10 on the top? I was like, oh yeah.
Is that the same one you've had the whole time?
Same sleeve, new fan. The fan busted.
In Canada.
When I met you.
Yeah.
So I met...
Yeah, it was like...
Yeah.
I was like, dude, who is this guy? Come on.
It sounded like a lawnmower. Those fans, I bring it in my checked bag, and it's in a cardboard box, and somehow the screws got loose, and it was missing a couple screws. And we're in Quebec. That's where I met Pat and his family. And I'm setting up my air dancer, thinking I'm all cool and unique and within. And I turn it on, and it's and nobody can hear each other. That'll, I don't know. You're
funny.
What was your name again? And so I had to turn it off, and then after that, I got a new fan. Yeah.
Sorry. I'm just throwing water bottles, ignore that. Have you guys tried convincing any of the other voice actors from Genshin Impact to join in on the tomfoolery of the songs? Or is it just going to be you guys for a while?
Would it be sad if it's just us? I don't know if we haven't talked about it. I do know that there's a lot of great singers amongst the voice actors.
Yeah.
So, certainly open to it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Might have to change the band name for that.
I know, who could we get? What do you guys think?
Coy? Have him sing in French.
Alejandro.
Zach Aguilar sings pretty well.
Does he?
Yeah, he's good.
Alejandro also does.
Yeah, oh, well, he has like a huge following on Spotify, I think. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, something to think about. Food for thought. Yes.
So have you ever gone on the internet, played Genshin, and then revealed to the other players that you're the voice actor for
Oh.
Because Paimon did it. Paimon did a YouTube video where she went out there and revealed, did her voice, and they went bonkers.
Oh, I bet. I've never done that, but that sounds like a fun content idea.
I don't play, so maybe I should do that. Someone teach me how to play, you know?
Just like, hey girly, let's do it. Hey girly, who is that guy? Yeah, you kind of sound alright. You sort of sound like the character. I once did that in a panel. Somebody was like, do a line of Moichiro's from Demon Slayer, and I go, okay. What was the shape of that cloud again? And they go, that's pretty good. And I was like, it's my voice. What?
That's funny.
Were there other hands? We have like 10 minutes left, I think. Yeah.
What was some of the really cool things that fans have given you at conventions?
Oh man, so many things. I've had people create ceramics. I have a ceramic child with a narwhal with a Santa hat, so it's actually on my dresser for the holidays.
Someone just made me like a plushie today or something. Yeah, that thing was awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, an amazing crocheted child out of blanket
cool.
fur, or what was it called?
Blanket yarn.
Blanket yarn.
Blanket yarn.
They said it was called blanket yarn, and I called it blanket fur, Max. It's so soft.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Many gifts.
What is it like making friends in the voice acting community?
Sucks.
Is that why you two are best?
It's cool.
Yeah, that's right.
I made a couple friends, mostly acquaintances I see, but me and Griffin been hanging. He's my pal, so it's been pretty cool.
I have a lot of acquaintances, but not a lot of close friends in the voiceover community. To be honest, we work solo so much. A lot of people ask, like, oh, what was it like recording with so-and-so? But when we go into the studio for any anime or video game, it's pretty much always by ourselves. So we're limited to run-ins in the hallway. But Pat, like I said, I met at a con, and you actually get to spend like quality time when you're at a con because you're there 3-4 days, and so yeah. I'd say it's kind of rare, but I do know that other VAs in Genshin are like really close friends. Like some people have a bunch of close friends from it. We're just loners. Or I am, I guess. I'm just kidding. Wait, no, you didn't have a hand. You were touching your wig. Is there a hand over here? If not, oh, yes, you.
Who is your favorite character other than yourself?
From Genshin or from anything? Oh, I like Razor. And I like Shinha.
I don't play, but I like Nahida.
We can end a little early. Does anybody have like one last question? One last question? Yeah, why don't we end with you?
So, what is the one role, regardless of whether or not you can do it, you would take in a heartbeat?
Hank Hill from King of the Hill.
Oh, golly gee, that would be quite delightful. It would change my career.
Could you imagine the mashup of Child and Hank Hill? It's a good way to end it. Yeah.
Any role? I'm down for like old school. I would always just want to be like on like Scooby-Doo or something. Some like mystery, one of those things. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Scooby-Doo. Okay.
Thank you. All right, one last question in the back.
Can we get your favorite child line as Hank Hill?
Oh, this place is. Oh God, hold on. Why would anyone? Okay. Hey, what? Oh, bah! This place is pretty dead. By which I mean there's nothing to kill.
All right.
Good job.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I don't know if you've all met us already or not, but Pat and I are heading back to our booths. We'll be there for maybe another hour or something before dinner. So if you want to stop by, meet us. We're doing autographs, selfies, and videos and whatnot. But we'll be there in the vendor hall.
Thank you.
Yeah.